So Buckingham Palace has spoken, guys. So on October 30th, 2025, the Royal Communications Office released a formal statement announcing that King Charles III had initiated a process to remove the titles, style, and honors of Prince Andrew. The statement reads, and I quote, Prince Andrew will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. His Majesty has ordered him to vacate Royal Lodge. That's another complaint that they were having, that he needs to move out of the house. To the casual observer, it might sound like a reckoning. The king finally taking action, but read between the lines and the picture changes. Because unless an act of parliament is initiated or letters patent are formally issued, this isn't legal removal at all. It's a carefully scripted performance, a non-formal relinquishment. Andrew hasn't lost anything that truly matters. If anything, he came out on top.
Our monarchy is totally clapped out. It's exhausted. It's thinning out. The next three monarchs, including this one, are confused and cloistered men who don't really understand the world that we live in. And I think that if they had any sense, after this scandal, they would simply abdicate and let us turn this very sad moment, quite a grim moment for our country, into something fun and imaginative and interesting.
Are they more cloistered than previous monarchs? Did Henry VIII or Edward II or Queen Victoria, were they more of the people?
I think they had a closer connection to reality. I think the fact that Andrew, since 2010, when we started to learn about his connections with Epstein, has been allowed to hold quite important government jobs, has been allowed to live in a gigantic mansion. He should be packed out to a shed in the Outer Hebrides. And instead, at all times, he's been supported by this family. It's completely wrong.
But I mean, huge amounts of tax revenues coming in because of the tourist attraction of Buckingham Palace and the House of Windsor, and we don't have to have a directly elected national president like they have in America or in France. Isn't that much better?
I mean, I think a potted plant would be better than the current monarch, actually, if we put it on a throne.
And let me explain to you why, guys. This does nothing. All they're doing is moving maybe Andrew from a 30-bedroom house or castle or wherever he is to a 20-bedroom, just on a different property. Charles is going to pay his wages. Charles is going to take care of him. What has Andrew lost? As a matter of fact, he has gained. Let me tell you, something else is brewing. Something else is happening under the carpet that we are about to find out. And that's why Charles and William are running scared. They did not want a formal investigation because they know that Parliament would find out too much. How come so many things are coming out? We're hearing that, Edward is paying market rate for his, is not a peppercorn rate that he's paying. Something is happening. The Epstein files need to be released because there's so many other men that need to be brought down. Something is going on. So it's the illusion of accountability. Let's be clear, no royal titles were legally stripped today. What happened was an exercise in optics, a desperate attempt to make it look like accountability without actually enforcing it. This statement wasn't about justice. It was about containment. Yes, because it was blowing up, it was getting out of control, and they knew it, they could feel it. The monarchy acted out of fear. Fear of what more could emerge from Virginia's memoir. Fear that the Epstein connections could further poison the royal brand. And fear that the public, already furious, might start asking harder questions about the other royals and their finances. Yes, it was hitting close to home, and they knew it. But it's gonna happen, Royals. You can hide now, or you can try to make us feel like, oh, you're doing something when we know you're not. It's the first time you have ever mentioned the victims. First time. You act as if nothing happened, and you paid off 12 million to let it go away, and it did not go away. This wasn't courage from the crown. This was Operation Try and Restore Credibility. What did Andrew get in return for those 3 neat paragraphs from the palace? Make no mistake, the British monarchy really acts without a deal. Andrew's silence has value. His corporation has value, because if he ever decided to speak, really speak, about what he knows, the palace walls might not withstand a fallout. So, what assurances did he receive behind closed doors? Financial guarantees. We see that he's going to pay him till maybe he goes into whatever. Legal shielding, right? So we protect Andrew, because as people are crying out and say, this doesn't go too far, he needs to be prosecuted because something happened and they're hiding it, right? A quiet promise that the formal process will never quite reach the finish line. The statement leaves more questions than answers, and that's by design. Fear at the heart of the monarchy. That is what is driving this thing. This move by King Charles wasn't moral courage. It was fear. Fear of the unknown. What else might still be uncovered? Fear of the Epstein archives. What names, what meetings, what evidence could still be buried? Fear that the friendship between Andrew and Epstein, once whispered about, could become the scandal that finally breaks the monarchy's hold on public sympathy. Because we know that they know what is going on. They know what happened. And yes, fear, because people are rightfully questioning the financial dealings of the other royals. After all, it's now public that Andrew hasn't paid a penny in rent for over 2 decades. The monarchy knows it looks rotten to the core, because it is rotten.
Monarchy is an institution of this country. We can't have a country that is against child abuse and sex trafficking, but at the same time, a monarchy that thinks they're above the law. They're not above the law. They are complicit. They did pay off 12 million. We need to know who paid that off. We need to know what the king knew. He could be a witness to criminality. We need to know what William knew. All they're bothered about is protecting their image. We need to protect victims of abuse. This is so important, because we're not a democracy otherwise. How can we call ourselves a democracy? Not inviting them at Christmas is not good enough. It's actually, it is gaslighting, and we need to do more, because we have to show we're a country that cares about the victims of child abuse and sex trafficking.
And as I said, it's quite clear that this scandal isn't going away anytime soon. If the King was hoping that the announcement last Friday night was going to make all the difference, it patently hasn't and isn't, is it?
From Prince to Mr. And so, the artist formerly known as Prince Andrew will now be Mr. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Epstein's longtime friend, stripped of the prince title, evicted from the royal lodge. At least, that's the story we're supposed to believe. But does anyone really think Andrew will be packing boxes himself? That he'll be living like an ordinary man? Hardly. We know. This downfall is symbolic. A press release dressed up as punishment. A sacrificial gesture to convince the world that the institution can still police itself. It can't, and it won't. What this really means, guys, let's think about it for a moment. The palace's own statement gives away the truth. They wish to make clear that their thoughts and empathies remain with victims and survivors of abuse. Translation: we know something happened. Because if you truly believed the allegations were false, you wouldn't need to issue that line at all. The royal family's statement is an indirect admission and acknowledgement that they know what Andrew did to Virginia Giuffre, who was only a minor at the time. Yeah, she was 17. Some places she's a minor, some places she's a little past the minor stage, but there were younger girls than her, and we know that, right? The woman who brought down a prince. You have to give her credit. Let's not forget the woman at the center of this story, Virginia Giuffre, an ordinary American girl who faced down billionaires, predators, and a royal family and won. Unfortunately, we know Virginia is not with us anymore. We know she's not here. We know she could not deal with it and she unalived herself. So let's put her at the front and center here because she paid the ultimate price because of these rich, powerful men who always trying to paint her, smear her, make her feel like she was less than, even though she was telling the truth. She stood up against Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and the establishment that tried to silence her. She had no money, no power, no institutional backing, only her truth. And that truth brought down a British prince. Her family said it best. Today, an ordinary American girl brought down a British prince with her truth and extraordinary courage. Virginia Giuffre's bravery forced the monarchy to act, not out of compassion, but out of desperation. She's proof that one voice can still rattle an empire. Rest in peace, Virginia. I know you must be looking down and saying, yes, I did my part. There's so many other young ladies out there, but you did your part, Virginia. When your book was released, a lot of things start flowing. We don't know how things work out, but my God, nobody expected it. A lot of things came to fruition because your book was coming out. They ran scared. So let's call this what it is. Not justice, not redemption, but theater. A nervous monarchy performing damage control in front of a world that no longer believes its fairy tales. Andrew may have lost his title in print, but the real victory belongs to Virginia Giuffre and every survivor who refused to stay silent. Because when truth outshines power, even the mightiest crowns start to crack. Yes, guys, we see that. We see what is going on. We see that when you speak truth to power, things start happening. And Virginia, you're no longer with us, but my God, your family must be proud of you. I mean, it's sad. It's really bittersweet. They can know that all these years that you fought to get this out there, to get your story out there, and people did not believe you, that now people can see, yes, she was telling the truth. A lie can only last for so long and no more. At some point, that lie is going to filter out. And with social media, with everything that's going on, people having their right to speak, a lie can only stay hidden for so long. After a while, sunlight. We get sunlight. Darkness and then sunlight. So, yes, guys, that's what I want to bring you. Big things are happening. I'm telling you, it's getting crazy. But hey, bye, guys. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you never miss a beat. Bye.